OK， 我来拿铁吧。That's Trochilus.
Trochilus coffee.
Yeah.
喝 Trochilus 咖啡。
Yeah. OK， 欢迎大家。今天我们邀请到了这个美国的 Peter 先生，然后给大家简单介绍一下。Peter 先生他是从小时候就开始学习钢琴，然后学习过很多种乐器，然后后来到了大学呢，学的这个音乐教师的行业。遇到口琴之后，他就开始玩口琴，一直玩了20多年。之前他是一直玩失控，后来遇到这个 Trochilus 之后，开始学习并推广蜂鸟。他还专门写过一本中高级的蜂鸟练习书。现在已经在这个网上售卖了。然后咱们今天呢，邀请到 Peter 先生来之后，想要跟他去交流一些我们这个中美之间的一些口琴玩家的一些感兴趣的一些问题。然后我也介绍一下我自己啊，我是这个 Trochilus 还有这个 Assassin 的这个设计者然后主要是从事口琴设计、口琴推广，然后口琴演奏等一些内容吧。我这边准备的这个第一个问题是，你是如何了解到蜂鸟的，又是如何喜欢上蜂鸟的呢？
So I remember two things. One, I became aware of JDR because I was surfing AliExpress, right? And I saw that you had some harmonicas, so I knew about JDR existed. And then I saw Michael Rubin. He posted a review just playing a scale. And he said, this sounds pretty interesting. And he's somebody that I respect a lot and have for a long time. So I thought, well, I'll try one. I tried one, and well, it does everything, promised. It gives me a Richter tune harmonica with a button to go up a half step. But then I also found that it would overblow. And that's when the light bulb went on for me, that this thing could do things that no other harmonica can do. Right? Because you can play almost every note in two ways. And that was the thing that made me really, really interested. Because like jazz musicians, they will do cartwheels to find two ways to play a note. So they have more expressive range. And that was what made me really attached to it, was there would be new ways of being expressive with the harmonica because of this instrument. Now, another thing that I really like about them is that I have more options for phrasing. If you think, if you're playing a 6 draw, that's a note you can bend down half step. If you put a slide in, now you can do that with a note that's a half step higher. So I could go, bwa, 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 da, da, bwa, da, bwa, da, bwa, right? Whereas on a regular harmonica, that's impossible. So you have more options for bending. I played one for a harmonica playing friend. He said, they are very bendy. And I said, yes, they are. They're very bendy. So I want to know, when you were making it, what was your goal in making it?
目标首先一个就是能够让用户首先一个他在握持的时候感觉到舒适，就是符合这个我们手的一些姿势和动作。再就是它的性能比如说一些高性能定位的琴，比如说这个刺客至少它的性能能够达到我手工调整的一个标准的程度，至少它可以做超吹、做 overblow 或者 overdraw， 用户他不需要自己调琴就可以轻松去做到这些技巧。所以说对我来说，一个是性能，再一个就是外观颜值，再一个就是用户他在握持的舒适性，这3点。
For the Trochilus, did you intend for it to be a harmonica people overblow with?
我说实话，我在设计它的时候，我并没有考虑到用户去做这个超吹，也就是 overblow， 因为像有同款的这个像刺客产品，它已经有很好的这个超吹性能，并且我设计这个按键也是为了让大家能够不去用技巧就可以做出它缺少的音，所以当时对于它的性能来讲，并没有考虑它的超吹。如果是按照超吹性能去调整它这个口琴的话，overblow 是可以实现的，包括 overdraw 也可以实现，它只不过没有咱们普通手工口琴，相对要亲密性会要差一点，因为它也多了一些零件，所以说它的亲密性会损失一些。不过是可以实现的，只是我们设计的时候没有把这个考虑进去。
Yeah, to me it was an interesting question because it's history repeats itself, where Hohner's initial intent for these type of harmonica, right? But we play, right? These is the same. Like we can also. We can also hack it, beyond its intent in order to do new things. I like it because it feels a little rebellious.
Overblow 它的这个声音的野性、攻击性会要更强一些，相比正常按键做出来的音。然后下面我的第二个问题是什么呢？你认为蜂鸟在海外市场的销量潜力大吗？对于用户来讲，它是一个粘性很强的产品吗？
I think it's a great instrument. In order for people to understand its value, we need to keep telling people about what it does and why it's great. Harmonica community is very conservative, right? But this, it's the same design as the Koch harmonica, right? The same tuning layout. So it's part of that tradition. So helping them understand that, I think that's key. And then I think the other part is having all of the having these in the hands of all the right players, the people who everybody looks up to. And then when they see that, that helps them understand its value within the harmonica community. But also, I think more broadly, for that audience that's not going to overblow, that really just needs that extra note, right? Helping them understand that you can play a popular melody with that. So I think it has a ton of potential, so long as we keep letting people know what it does.
已经有很多国外的大咖已经了解到 Trochilus 这款琴了，可以跟我说一下他们的名字吗？
Yeah, Ross Guerin.
Ross Guerin.
So Ross Guerin, he played harmonica in the Bob Dylan movie, and also on Saturday Night Live. And he even used the Trochilus on Saturday Night Live, using a harmonica that was customized by Kenya Pollard. So that's a huge one, right? So Ross is probably one of the most successful studio musicians alive right now. And he's a big fan. And I talked to him about it, and he's very interested in what it can do, things that he hasn't considered. So he understands it has a lot of possibilities, right? And he's interested in exploring those, right? So that's one. Chris Bauer. Chris Bauer is a chromatic harmonica player. He performs at SPA every year, playing spectacularly difficult pieces on the chromatic harmonica. And he put out a video talking about the Yellow Tune one, saying, hey, for chromatic harmonica players, if you want to play with a little bit more edge, get some diatonic bend, make the playing a little bit dirtier, you can use that. So you see some, like a really top player from the diatonic world and another one from the chromatic world. So those are the two that spring to my mind immediately. I would also have to mention Boris, right? So Boris is the biggest player in Russia, it took him a little while to warm up to it, but he even shaved his beard so that he could play the Trochilus, and then he's using it to perform. It's also not just players, but people who are a voice of authority, like Winslow, right? He's somebody, if you want an opinion that you can respect, you ask Winslow. And he really appreciates these harps and puts out a lot of recordings with them. We see this as a really high potential instrument.
那我们很期待这个一些了解到蜂鸟的口琴大咖们能够做出更多关于蜂鸟的这个作品。下面是 Peter 的问题了。
Talk to me about the tunings and the tunings that you decided to create.
蜂鸟的3个调音主要是为了适应不同的用户。比如说我们这个蓝调的这个调音，它是专门给玩布鲁斯的这个玩家提供的。红色蜂鸟就是它跟咱们比较流行的 Paddy 口琴，它的调音是一样的，主要是为了吹一些流行曲，更符合我们中国玩家的习惯。然后还有一款就是黄色的蜂鸟，因为本身蜂鸟它是一个半音阶的 类似结构嘛，也是为了迎合一些刚入门的半音阶口琴玩家设计的一个跟半音阶排列相同的一个调音。
Okay. Follow-up question?
OK。
So what do you think of the additional tunings that people have been making? Kano Sumi is making some in Japan and making custom tunings for people. Bushman is creating the blues shifter tuning. What do you think about those tunings?
这个我是知道的，而且我也挺喜欢他们做的一些个性化的调音，很符合他们自己的习惯。我觉得这个我是应该支持，并且我觉得蜂鸟这款产品它做出来就是要有广阔的可玩性、广阔的可定制化性，然后满足不同习惯的用户。大家是真正的在玩口琴，真正的去玩它，真正的去定制化它。我是比较推荐的，就是我很喜欢这种方式，我自己也有做过一些，给用户提供一些定制。
I love this answer. There's a lot of potential there, like the Nitlinger. If you put this mouthpiece over on this one, you have a harmonica with a very big range.
Yeah.
There's Sunny Kumar. He made one where the slide is an overblow booster. And I keep thinking people will start doing the X-Reed designs with them, but I haven't seen that yet, but we'll see. Sure. So one of the defining features of this is that its thickness is the same or similar to a regular harmonica. But usually a chromatic harmonica has a thicker comb and a dividing line down the middle. So tell me what made you decide to focus on this design?
为什么要设计的琴格的这个孔这么窄，以及为什么要设计的这么薄呢？我当时去定位这款产品的时候，就是我想把蜂鸟设计的和传统的这个时空口琴一样大小，就是我想让它拥有更多的音，但是呢，跟时空口琴一样小巧便捷，这是我当时设计的初心。至于设计的这么窄，是因为我想尽量去缩短它的空间，因为它的结构跟传统的半音阶口琴结构不一样嘛。传统半音阶口琴它是上下两排孔，然后它在变音的时候它是去上下变音的，但是我们这个Trochilus 呢，它是左右变音的，也就是说它相当于两个10孔的琴格加在一起了，它一共有20个琴格，而且它的簧片是上下排列的，这样的话它就可以非常极致的去缩短它的左右的空间。因为它是只有1排孔，所以说它不需要把它的琴格做得很厚啊，只需要跟这个普通的10孔的琴格做的一样厚就可以。对，再一个就是我把这个2个角去削掉了，削掉这个角它就变成一个梯形了嘛。这有2个作用，一个作用是我可以让用户他可以就是握持上来讲会更舒服一些，会更靠近、更集中一些。再一个点就是什么呢？它的下侧的这个边比较短，上侧边比较长，它会有一个视觉效应。我到时候我宣传的时候就会跟大家讲，它是跟10孔一样小巧的一款口琴，因为它用这个窄边去跟10孔去比的话，它是跟10孔一样大的。那我这边的下一个问题是什么呢？是什么动力让你想为蜂鸟这款口琴去写一套这个中高级的练习书的呢？可以向大家介绍一下你的这款练习书的大致的内容吗？然后未来还有写其他这个练习书的这个打算吗
？I would not shut up about the harmonica. I was so excited about it, and I was telling anybody who would listen. And I was taking lessons from a jazz saxophone player at the time, and he also played a little bit of harmonica. He got excited about it. He's like, you have this infectious energy about this. You should write a book. And I thought, well, maybe I will do that. Then the second part, so the book, in my professional life, I do change management. And one of the things in that field is that there are key people, right? How they feel about things influences everybody else. And there were some people that were skeptical of this harmonica, right? And they were very advanced players. So that's who I wrote the book for. Is I wrote the book for advanced players who I wanted to show them that this is a very powerful instrument. It's more than just a blues harp with a button. So I wrote it specifically for that. So even some of the very advanced people, they said, well, this is very meaty, right? Yeah. Like it's got deep content. Even when I showed Leon, he said, whoa, this is a lot of information. There's years, like you could learn from that book for years. So I think of it as a reference book. And so that's the way I think of it. It's a book that even I use it myself. Like if I want to remind myself, hey, if I'm playing in this weird position, what's some cool stuff I can do? So it serves that purpose even for me. So that's what the book is, really some details, but it does use like scale degrees to describe which note you're playing in the scale. So that way it keeps it straightforward without having to read music, so you don't have to read music to be able to use it, but it does give you a lot of details. Yes, I am going to write more books. I really enjoy writing about harmonica. I feel that there's a risk of knowledge being lost, where it's just certain people hold on to the knowledge they have. When they get older and pass away, that knowledge is gone. So I'm very interested in capturing the knowledge that I can, either from myself or from other people in the community. So right now I'm working on a book that's a very deep dive on overblows and that technique, and creating a new essentially foundation for thinking about air and the way we do overblows. So I've got that in the works. I'm also working on a beginner version of the Trochilus book, so that somebody who just wants to use the button for the missing notes, right, that they've got a solid reference. I'm also going to give a seminar about that at SPA this coming summer, a session just to show people who play basic blues what's some really neat stuff that you can play on Trochilus.
你写的这些关于蜂鸟的练习书，包括就是你后续会出的一些关于 overblow， 关于一些很多即将失传的一些技巧，你写的这些书以后会不会在中国去售卖呢？因为大家就是在中国这个玩家群体也是很需要这样的非常专业性、非常系统的这个练习书。
I've thought about it, but I haven't made any plans yet.
没关系。那如果后续 Peter 先生的书如果后续能够在中国售卖的话，到时候我会通知大家。
Okay, all right. Now this is my big question.
Okay.
So it's very common in the harmonica world for a new instrument to be released. Some time passes, and then there's a second version. So I'm wondering if you have any plans or thoughts about what you might do if you were to iterate on this harmonica.
首先，如果后续要考虑去做一个蜂鸟的升级款，比如说什么蜂鸟 Pro 之类的，我首先要先确定新的升级款要解决它原版的什么问题，比如说它的音域不够宽，或者说解决它的一些这个音色比较尖锐啊，或者说等等其他类似这样的问题。首先就是我要对我的一个新的设计有一个非常精准的定位，能够解决大家现有口琴遇到的一个比较痛的痛点。在这个定位清晰明了的前提下，我想我可能才会去考虑做一个升级款。我知道大家都是很期待有这个升级款，但是我也不想太潦草的去做这个升级款，我需要有一个明确的定义，并且在结构上有一个大的突破，我才会去考虑做这个升级款。厂家也是很支持这个想法的，就是说一定要对大家真诚，你能够真正拿得出新的东西来，我们才会去考虑去做这个。
True design thinking.
那我这边还有2个问题，就是你认为中国的这个蓝调风格发展潜力大不大？如果以后有机会来中国做这个蓝调口琴教学的话，你有没有意向来中国这边去教中国这边的口琴玩家？
I think blues music has potential everywhere and anywhere, right? So blues is fundamentally a throwback, right? It's getting back to the most basic elements of meaningful, feeling, fun music,
Yeah.
right? And so I even have just goosebumps here thinking about it now, right? Blues gives you, it doesn't matter who you are, right? You can be someone who knows nothing about music. You can be somebody, you know, like with a music background, right? Like myself, right? Where you just suddenly feel like you're sick of, you know, trying to get everything exactly right, and you want to feel free, right? So anywhere where people want that feeling of free expression, blues is available. You know, you've got jazz for that too, but it's a lot more structured, right? Like blues it's more accessible. You know, like in America, there's guys that start learning blues when they're 65 years old. You know, or when they're teenagers. People who are very well educated, people who have no education. Everybody can access it because it's simple.
Yeah.
So I think it has potential everywhere. I had not considered whether I would teach blues in China. I'm not in China very often. I know that there are some teachers who do teach blues. They teach Chinese harmonica students from America. I haven't really thought about that, but I'll think about it now. It sounds pretty interesting. But we will see what the future brings.
那咱们最后一个问题啊。你看好中国口琴行业未来的发展吗？对未来口琴行业的整体有什么期待呢？
I think what I hope to see is I hope to see first I hope to see blues harmonica grow, right? Because the chromatic harmonica very popular in China, the tremolo harmonica very popular for playing melodies, and I love that, right? And I think what that means is that the people who play like that, when they pick up one of these, they're bringing a higher level of musicianship than someone who doesn't have any experience playing an instrument. So I think there's great potential for people to get interested in different types of harmonicas. You know, I always thought 10 holes was all you needed, right? But then here in the last year, I started to learn how to, you know, play 16-hole and the 12-hole harmonica, and it makes me better at playing this instrument because I learn new things. Yeah, and I also would say I see China as leading in the harmonica space right now. Because there's ensemble playing is popular, where you have harmonica ensembles and orchestras. You know, you have lots of harmonica festivals, and lots of people play it, even just a little bit. My son had a birthday party, and one of my wife's uncles, when he learned that I played harmonica, he said, "Oh, I play harmonica too," right? You know, so it's common, right? So there's just like, yeah, I see China as kind of the cutting edge of harmonica right now, because that's where the new stuff is happening. You've got JDR and other companies like trying to push the instrument forward, right? And especially for diatonic, pushing that quality forward. That makes it so that, you know, those players that used to think of overblows as something you could only do when you practice, then it becomes, well, it's not hard, right? It's just not even that, it's not that challenging once you've got a really well set up harmonica. And so that makes it easier for people to have higher levels of musicianship when they play, when they've got a better instrument. So that's, yeah, I think that's the second part of my answer. I'd also say, I think the interest here in competition, that also drives things forward, right? When people see that not only can you play for fun, but you can also be recognized for high-level playing. I think that encourages people to advance the instrument.
希望咱们中国乃至全世界的这个口琴行业继续蓬勃发展，然后也希望 Peter 先生以后有机会多来中国来玩，然后我这边也和这个加德瑞多多合作，多多做出一些更多的好产品给到大家。那咱们今天这个采访就先告一段落，最后我跟 Peter 我们再玩个一两首这个布鲁斯作为结尾，好吧？谢谢大家的观看啊。
哇，还是不对10分钟。